want to say a few words about our special guests today, the Secret Sisters. We have Laura and Lydia Rogers. They're fantastic vocalists and musicians. I've listened to them, my wife Amy and I have listened to them forever. We adore their music. In fact, if you're in choir, you know that I kind of just force feed Secret Sisters to you on a daily basis. I'm like, you will love this band, I promise you. Without further ado, I would like to introduce you to the Secret Sisters.
We love that so much. We're really tickled to be here. We had a day off today, and so we were excited to go back to high school for a minute. I've been out of high school. I graduated in 2004, and I haven't been back to high school since then, so this was...
So we're kind of terrified.
Yeah, we're scared of you. We haven't been around high school in a long time. But we'll just play music and it'll be fun. So the first song we're going to play is from our brand new album. It's called I Cannot Find a Way.
And it's also before noon, so
yeah.
We're going to turn it over to a few students that want to ask questions to the band.
my question is, how's life on the road?
Ooh, well,
Good question.
life on the road is fun, usually. Sometimes it's very stressful, and sometimes
It's downright awful.
yeah, that's true. We get homesick kind of bad from time to time because we are really close to our family and we love where we're from. And so when you have to be away from home for a extended period of time, you can get a little mopey and homesick every now and then. But it helps to have a sister out on the road. There are times when we don't get along. I don't know how many of you have siblings that you don't get along with, but it's no different when you're in a band with your sibling. But most of the time it's fun. We don't really have a whole lot to do. I know that sounds crazy, but there's a whole lot of time where it's just downtime and you're having to kind of entertain yourself. And then you go and you'll do sound check, and then you'll play the show, and then you'll hang around for a little while at the place you played, and then you leave, and then you go do it all again the next day. It's always exciting, and every show is different. Every crowd is different.
It used to not be that way, though. It used to just be me and Laura and a guitar and a tour manager who drove with us everywhere we went. And so we would get up at 5 or 6 in the morning, drive all day to wherever we were playing that night, just in time for sound check at 4 o'clock. Then do sound check, do the show, and then go to bed and do the same thing the next day. So we've kind of graduated to the next level.
It is definitely a growth process, but it's always, don't ever let anybody tell you that playing music isn't work, because it is hard work, and it takes a whole lot of effort and a lot of thought and a lot of money, believe it or not, to go and play music. And it isn't always glamorous, but the moments when you're on the stage and people are enjoying it, that's when it's worth all the work and all the heartache and homesickness. So, did that answer that?
Absolutely.
My question is, what was your road to fame, and do you have any tips for aspiring artists?
Yeah, we've got some tips. Okay, so here's the thing about the two of us. I don't really perceive us to be what you would call famous. Yes, we play music. Yes, we've been on television. I feel like you have to be rich to be famous, right? I feel like they should be the same thing, right?
I think that's called rich and famous.
Yeah.
Right.
New
Rich
level.
and famous, and we're neither of the two. But our road to fame was it was a really interesting one, because typically the way it works is that if you want to be a musician who performs for a living, you will spend your time writing songs, recording songs, trying to play shows and build up a fan base with the hope that one day all of that work will turn into a record deal or a management deal where you can actually take it to the next level and grow it from there up. But for us, the two of us, true story, we're not trying to have a career in music. I was a nanny in Nashville, and she was in school to be a graphic designer. And cool. And so I actually grew up having really terrible stage fright, and just so that you all know, if you struggle with stage fright and you know that you have something special that you can do in private that you're afraid to do in public, as far as performance goes, you should face it, because that's what I did, and it terrified me for a very long time. But the best way to get your confidence is to just do what you're afraid of. So I know there's like so much talent in this room, and I just want to say that you should do what you love to do, and don't be afraid of what people think. I had really terrible stage fright growing up, and I heard about this open audition in Nashville, and this record label was just looking for people who could sing and write songs. And I went, never ever dreaming that it would turn into a career, because I didn't think that I was any good at all. But I figured if I would go and face my stage fright, I might kind of, get over it a little bit. And so I went and I performed a verse and a chorus of a song, and I thought I did a terrible job, but I was just proud of myself because I did something brave. And the people at the audition called me back in and asked me to sing 3 or 4 more songs, which I did, and I was terrified. And then they started talking about record deals and recording and demos and all these things that I didn't really understand. And I told them, you gotta wait, because my sister is so much better in every way than I am, and I want you to hear her. I really did say that. I really wanted them to take her, don't take me. You volunteer as tribute. But,
Nice.
Three, this is peace. Right. Okay. So anyway, she came into town. She drove all the way up from her class that she was in.
Ceramics
class. She drove up and she performed a song by herself. At this point, we had not performed together, and we were packing up the guitar. We were about to leave, and the people in the room asked us if we would try to sing harmony together. And we know how to sing harmony. We've always known how to sing harmony together, but it wasn't something that we did all the time. It wasn't something that we practiced often. And so we just kind of whipped out a song and kind of harmonized. I don't think it was really that good, but for some reason they loved it. And then that one moment in that audition led to recording demos and sending those demos to a record label. The record label signed us 3 months after the audition, and then the month after we got our record deal, we went into the studio to record our first record. So it's been a little bit of a different path for us than the normal artist, but I will say, as far as tips go, there's no formula to follow. There's no exact science to getting somewhere, but I will say that what we've learned is just show up. Show up and be good at what you do, and be the best at what you do. Do whatever it takes to be as close to perfect as you can be. You'll never be perfect. Know that you have a grasp on what it is that you're most naturally good at. For the two of us, it was harmony, a really big part of being successful in anything, whether it's music related or not, is to show up and be nice and be humble and be grateful and know your place and have a sense of how lucky you are to be doing anything that is important to you. And work hard, and don't be afraid to say yes to everything. You'll have to say yes to really crummy shows. You'll have to say yes to
blogs that have 20 followers.
Right. You'll have to get up at 5 in the morning to try to go sing at a radio station, and your voice will not work. But you just have to do it, and eventually one of those doors will open, and you'll find out where you need to be. I really believe that. So.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lauren.
We've got some guitar students sprinkled in too. I was just wondering about your guitar background. Could you tell us about, you play and you sing at the same time, and I think a lot of people struggle with that. Can you just walk us through, was there a breakthrough moment when that happened, or what's your background with the old git fiddle?
Well, I started when I was 12 maybe, but I knew 3 chords for 5 years. So
I still only know 3 chords.
That's all you need.
we're not very good, to be honest,
I know.
at guitar. We try to let our voices kind of cover it all up. It's working.
Yeah.
We never had any sort of formal guitar training. Our dad plays bluegrass music, and he's a very, very good instrumentalist. And so he kind of got us started on guitar, and then from there on out, we just kind of I guess the best practice that we ever had was just finding songs that we liked from other artists and just playing along with them. I think as far as singing and playing at the same time, what really helped the two of us is that we took piano lessons when we were younger, and a lot of the things we learned in piano translate to guitar and vice versa. And so a lot of our, even if all you know is just the chords on the piano and you sit down and just play the chords, if you slowly do it and ease your way into singing at the same time, it's really just a matter of practicing and doing it over and over again. And even to the point, like I made a minute ago about, playing along with your favorite band songs. If you can play along with that and get at least, the guitar playing down, then add in the singing bit by bit, it really will come. It's just a matter of repetition.
Yeah, like they said about the technical side of it, but I think in the end, the best way to do it is just practice it and play with your favorite band, like you said.
Right.
Definitely. Thank you. That's great. Do you guys want to do another song?
We can do another, yeah. The first song that we did, we wrote that song. But this next song, we did not write, even though we wish that we did. I don't know how many of you, you all seem so young and fresh. So I don't know how many of you have ever heard of this next band, but if you haven't, you should go listen to them. You should go on whatever place you get music, and you should listen to this band. They're called the Everly Brothers. And it's a couple of brothers who have fantastic harmony, and we love them so dearly, so very much. And you can really hear a lot of similarities between what we do and what they did. So this is a song of theirs. It's called Lonely Island. I'm living on a lonely island in a loveless ocean full of misery.
This is such a wide range that you guys both switch off.
Yeah.
Is that natural, or did you guys have to work towards that?
I think it's just kind of how our voices sound naturally. Laura has more of a mid-range vocal, which makes it really good for lead singing. And I do all the harmonies because I have a higher voice.
Her range is outrageous. Her range is actually better than mine. She can hit like stupid low notes. Like a girl shouldn't be able to hit those notes, right? But then she can also just soar up into the atmosphere. I'm like, how do you even? There's certain notes that it's funny because when we sing together, I don't really pay attention to her. I just know if it sounds like it's in tune. So there are moments when I'll go back and listen to a recording of us. I'm like, Lydia is hitting these notes.
But there was one time when we were on stage and we decided to switch up our vocals. I was going to sing lead and you were going to sing harmony.
We don't know how to do it. We don't know how to switch parts. You know how twins will be oh, we're going to trade places for a moment? These two cannot do that. I don't even have a clue what she sings half the time, and I don't think she knows what I sing either. So, truth be told, I hate to tell you this because I don't want to shatter any discipline that you have, but we really don't practice very often. But I think for the two of us, I think because we're sisters, it's easy to just rely on what comes naturally. If we were in a band with people who we weren't related to, we might have to work a little more on who's going to sing what part and which voice fits with which sound the best. But for the two of us, we just know. I think we just know each other so well, and it's so intuitive that we just kind of fall into the.
We grew up in the
natural
same way, and so we were taught the same things musically, and so we kind of just feed off each other in that way. Sorry.
Thank you.
That's good.
I know. I'm afraid I'm doing a terrible job. I'm thinking I could never be a teacher. Never do this.
You're doing great. You're doing awesome.
Can you tell us about your experience on the Tonight Show?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Where do we start with that?
We got up early that morning and they did a sound check where we just get on stage and they do camera blocking. So there were 6 different cameras in our faces getting really close, and it was awkward. And how long did that last? 2 hours?
A couple hours. Yeah.
And it's not that great of a story. We were off for the afternoon and then we went back and played the show, and Jimmy was great.
Yeah. The thing about these sorts of shows is that there's a whole lot of work for a very brief amount of actual performance. So we spend this whole day, rehearsing and getting the cameras right and then getting hair and makeup done. And then all of a sudden we went out, we performed the song, and it was over within like 4 minutes. It was just done. So it's a little odd to spend an entire day preparing for such a brief moment of time. But it was really fun.
It was all adrenaline.
Yeah, it was very adrenaline focused for us. The crowd was really nice. Jimmy was hilarious, absolutely hilarious.
The studio is a lot smaller than you would think.
Yeah. It's weird because
It's
when
about
you
the
watch
size
the
of this
show.
room, maybe a little bigger.
Yeah, it was very, very small studio, but it's fun. That's always a little nerve-wracking because not only do you have to worry about how you sound, but you're kind of thinking about, what do I look like? Am I making the stupidest face ever? Am I like, do I look awkward when I'm, dancing? Like what? You just think about a million ridiculous things. But it was fun, and it was actually really worthwhile because we have a whole lot of people kind of jumping onto the bandwagon these days since they heard that performance. So it's helpful, very helpful.
I wanted to ask, do you guys remember like your first big show and how did it feel?
I do remember that.
That was in Philadelphia, wasn't it?
Oh yes, it was a train wreck. A train wreck. Truly a train wreck.
We had never performed a show after we got our record deal. And I think it was 6 months after we got the deal when we actually performed.
The way it worked, we got our record deal, we recorded our album, and then we started kind of promoting our record. So it meant a lot of going to radio stations or newspapers and doing a lot of interviews and performances. And then we finally had the big Philadelphia show that will live in infamy forever.
It wasn't that bad.
Oh, it was bad.
But there were I would say 200 people in
Yeah.
there. We forgot a whole lot of lyrics.
Yeah. I introduced a song. I don't know how many of you have heard our first record, but there's a song, I've Got a Feeling. I got a feeling that you're gonna leave me. It's very pop. And I introduced that song as a Hank Williams song, and it is not any good. I sounded like such an idiot. I knew better, but I just, I had a...
Here's an old Hank Williams song.
Yeah.
And she turned around to the drum and she said, that's not Hank Williams.
No, it's so terrible. So it's been a real process of kind of learning not only how to sing better and perform better, but you also have to do a little bit of kind of entertaining. So with the two of us, we just naturally defaulted to comedy. And so now we've kind of learned what jokes are funny and the kind of conversation that you can have to kind of bring the audience in and let them know a little bit of your personality. So it's been a real learning process, and we have a long way to go, but at least we're not introducing the wrong songs anymore.
I want to ask you one more question about your vocal warm-ups. When you guys are gearing up for something, like you mentioned earlier, getting up early in the morning for radio or something not ideal for singers. We have one first period choir here. That's obviously not ideal. We show up first period and we're all dragging, glazed over, and we're trying to warm up, and it's hard. So what do you guys, would you like to maybe share a couple warm-up ideas with us, or what you typically do in your routine?
We usually get our phones out and listen to our favorite songs and sing along with them. We get a cup of hot tea with honey in it.
Do you guys know about throat coat? Have you ever heard of this? Some of you do? Okay. It is your best friend if you care about your vocals. It's this tea that's made with licorice. It sounds disgusting, but it actually doesn't taste bad. It tastes really good. And that helps like crazy for vocals. So we usually have a cup or 3 or 4 of that before every show. But when we were growing up, when we were in high school, we were both in our high school chorus. And some of those vocal technique warm-ups that our teacher taught us we'll still do, but we feel kind of silly. Yeah. She does that. I don't know
what is it?
99 nuns in a nunnery.
I like that.
All of my house steps.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
So we'll do
99
every
nuns
now and
in a
then we'll do that, but if we sat in a room and did that together, we would laugh so hard that we wouldn't be able to actually warm up. So the best thing for us is to just practice our warm-ups kind of separately. We, like she said, we'll do a lot of listening and singing along with certain bands. There are certain bands that There's this band called Dawes that I will listen to, and it's a man who sings, and so I'll sing along with that to try to get my low register in place. And then there's this artist named Jenny Lewis who I love to listen to, and she's got a higher register. So after I do the lower register, I'll get into Jenny and try to warm up my upper notes.
Right.
A whole lot of breathing. I've noticed here lately, and I've really tried to implement it more as we go further in our career, is just taking really deep breaths just to kind of stretch out all those like muscles that you need in there in order to hold out notes. We'll do these like weird, I don't even know if they're effective, but these like stretches where I like pull my arms behind my back and Lydia tries to like rip my rib cage. And that helps, believe it or not. Just opening things up in there. A hot shower, oddly enough, always really helps to, loosen everything up and get you good. It's kind of terrifying when your main instrument is your voice, because you don't always have a good voice day. And maybe that's true for guitar or piano or drums or whatever instrument, but for us it's like there's absolutely no control that we really have over how our voice is going to sound. And so there's a lot of kind of importance placed on hydrating, and really and truly, I recognize this is a high school class and you're all under probably the age of 21, I would hope. But I will say that being on the road kind of has this reputation of being a little bit of a party lifestyle. And to tell you the honest truth, you can't do that. You can't have this like wild rock and roll lifestyle.
It's not the 70s anymore.
No, it's not. It's hard work, and you do better if you get a good night's sleep and you stay hydrated and you try to eat semi-healthy and you stay away from all the bad stuff that kind of
You're in our
comes.
stretchy pants about good cooking.
Yeah. So if you're looking for rock stars, don't come see the Secret Sisters. We don't do that. But that kind of, it's a lot about your lifestyle really and how you preserve the instrument that you have. And then just, like she said, anytime before noon is usually kind of, oh dear. So we hate those early morning radio moments. But
really going back and forth from your lower register to your high register and just going back and forth is really helpful for me anyway.
yeah, that's true. I don't know if that was the
No,
right.
absolutely.
The 99 nuns.
99 nuns in a nunnery?
Yeah.
Okay, that's gold. Monday morning.
Monday morning, get ready.
Look out. Yeah. Awesome.
The next little chunk of our program, thank you ladies for all your awesome input. We're going to turn it over to the choir for a moment. So we're going to show you a couple of warm-ups. And we're going to do a pair of song. Huh? What?
No, we want to see you.
Yeah.